Hi there and welcome along to another workout for you to row along to. Now don't let the hoodie fool you into thinking that this is going to be an easy row today. Today is a tempo row and you are going to be working pretty hard. It's just quite cold today. That's the kind of theme of this series. What we're going to be doing today then is 8 3-minute intervals with 1.5 minutes rest in between. And that 1.5 minute rest should be the thing that lets you know that you're going to be working quite hard here, because that's a lot of rest in order to allow you to recover for the next interval as we get through this. So we're going to be rowing at round about 26, 28 strokes a minute, and your intensity is going to be like 7 to 8 out of 10 for most of this workout, but don't be surprised if by the end of this workout you're going to be up at like 9 out of 10. It's going to get up there, even though you've got a long rest, it's going to get up there intensity point of view. If you're the kind of person that works at the 2K training pace, you're kind of going to be round about 2K plus 5 to 8 maybe. So really aim for around about 15 seconds faster than your warm-up pace. That's kind of the best way to explain it, right? And that way you don't have to stress. But heart rate zone, if that's how you work, you're going to be starting off round about zone 3, you're going to be into zone 4 after maybe like the 4th interval, and then you're going to be ending up probably around about zone 5 by the end of this workout. That's kind of all the different ways I can explain what we're doing and wave my hands at you, all right? So we're going to get into a 4-minute warm-up before we get into our main workout. 4 minutes will be enough. That first interval will then get you perfectly warm, okay? So in order to get into that 4-minute warm-up, we have to set up our machines first. And on an Averon, that means that we have to set up our resistance first. Now, I've got mine set to 10 for the warm-up. I'll go up to 12 for the main workout, just in case that helps you. If you're on a Concept 2, though, I want you to set your drag factor to wherever you would normally set it, and then leave it there for warm-up and for the main workout as well, all right? So the guide for both of them is basically what you're looking for is a resistance where you get a nice feel from the stroke, you feel engaged, but you don't have to heave with your arms in order to get the thing moving, but also you're not just kind of flapping away in the wind. Next up, let's go to your foot stretcher height, and what you're looking for is to get your feet in a position where you're able to come into the front with your shins in a vertical position. If you're set too high, you can get bound up, not quite get there. If you're set too low, you can go past, your backside escapes from underneath you, you lose power, all right? A good ballpark here is that the strap covers the bottom lace on your shoe, which should be around about the balls of your feet. So start there, and then you can adjust as necessary, because everybody's different, all right? So we're going to get into this warm-up. Let's hope that I get relatively warm, because like I said, it's a bit cold, so the hoodie is off. We're going to do this around about 20 strokes a minute, and your intensity to start with is just going to be like standing up, okay? I just want you to think about connecting your feet to your hands, which I will explain as we get started. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's go. So this warm-up, really for the first minute, all I want you to do is work on timing. And that means connecting your feet to your hands. So you push your feet at the same time your hands pick up the machine, bite into the machine. So when you feel the weight of the flywheel in your machine. I know I start every warm-up with every single warm-up I do, I'd say exactly the same thing about connecting feet to hands, but that's because it's so important that you push your feet at the same time your hands connect. And you can help that by having that forwards tilt towards the front of the machine, arms straight, fingers hooked over the handle, not a death grip, and then push your feet into the machine. Push. And now as we get to the end of the first minute, you can push a little harder, take the intensity up, and what you're looking for is that 5 out of 10 effort, that amount of power that your breathing rate will start to increase, your heart rate starts to get up to close to, well, maybe not over the course of a minute, but if you were to continue rowing for 10 minutes, it'd be in like 60 to 70% max. You should still be able to speak, okay? Maybe not sing, because when you're talking, you stop for breaths, but when you're singing, you don't. Or, as I always say, it should feel as though you are climbing up a constant flight of stairs where your breathing goes up and it becomes work, weirdly, and you're like, but it's just stairs. Anyway, that's what you were looking for the past minute. But after this next stroke, we're going to take one foot out the straps, put it on the ground, continue rowing. Okay? And of course, you can just continue rowing for the full 4 minutes here. You don't have to follow with these drills, but the drills are extremely useful for getting into the right positions and thinking about your sequencing. So here, with only one leg strapped in, you can get better compression into the front with that shin into a vertical position. Let's swap feet. Continue rowing with the other one. Don't worry if it takes you a few seconds to do all these transitions. It's fine if you lose 5 seconds or so. But you can also, with only one leg in, it's easier to get into this forwards tilt at the front. So shin vertical, forwards tilt, and then still push out with that leg that's strapped in. One more here. Let's put both feet back in. Tighten up the straps if you wish. Try not to spend too much time doing it though, John. And then row with your back and arms. Swing with your back, pull in your arms, out with your arms, rock forwards, over your back again. Back, arms, arms, back. Back, arms, arms, back. And it's really important that you initiate this with the backswing first, not pulling with the arms. And then you let those arms trigger your recovery. So let's get into the front, arms straight, forwards tilt, just push out with your legs. Try and hold that forwards tilt as much as you can. There will be a little bit of a recoil as you do this, but don't push too hard with the legs and you should be okay. This is just about practicing this position at the front and that timing between legs and arms. Just push, get that bite happening at the same time. Let's take one more. And we're all done with the warm-up. Now, if you want to keep on rowing just to make sure your heart rate's up before we start the main session, please do. But do have a quick drink, and I'm going to quickly explain one more time what it is we're doing today. Okay then, so today's row, we're going to do 8 3-minute intervals with 1.5 minutes rest in between. Now those 3-minute intervals, I want you to keep the stroke rate up quite nice and high, around about 26, 28, but don't worry if you kind of slide up and down a little bit. Follow me for stroke rate, it'll be easier that way, but just kind of try and keep that rate up anyway. And intensity is going to be that kind of 7, 8 out of 10. We're kind of really taking it up there. If you're using a 2K training pace, right about 2K plus 5 to 8-ish, or right about 15 seconds faster than you were rowing the second minute of that warm-up. But I'm going to talk to you more about the point of that pace and why we're doing it as we get started, because we might as well get into it now. There's no point us sitting here and cooling down going, can't we get some rowing done? So let's get that done, all right? So here we go, in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and we're off. So I'm just gonna row at what I kind of figure would be my tempo pace as we get started. And I'll tell you, yeah, there we go, right. So there's a journey of discovery there. So this, basically, the more you train, the more you row, especially when you vary these workouts, you start to just learn what your body is capable. You start to just know instinctively the paces and stroke rates that you need to row at. And so I pretty much instantly got up to 28 strokes a minute, and I'm rowing at 1:42 pace on my Aviron, which is exactly 15 seconds faster than my warm-up pace. That 5 out of 10 intensity. Now the reason I qualified it with on the Aviron is just that different machines can give different readouts for intensity, which doesn't matter as long as you're comparing like to like. But I know if I was on a Concept 2, the pace I'd be aiming for would be 5 seconds slower than this. So So know yourself and know your machine when it comes to setting your pace and intensity. Right, so I've ranted on for almost 2.5 minutes, which means our first rest is coming up. And it's up to you whether you completely stop or keep moving. Whew. Let's see. 2 more strokes? 3 more? Yeah, 2 more now. 1, 2. And that's it. It was a little bit of a journey of discovery through that first interval. Now I'm going to keep moving for 2 reasons, to be honest. Number 1, it stops the timer on this machine from just stopping on me. And if it does, I'll completely lose track of the intervals, because as great as the Aviron is, I can't program in a custom workout to it yet. That's going to come, but not quite yet. So halfway through this rest, make sure to have a quick drink in these rests. I'll have to work out in the next one how to do that while carrying on moving. The other thing to say though is that in the next 30 seconds anyway, historically I would stop in these rest periods, but I really want to investigate moving lightly in them, because I usually poo-poo it and say that's a bad idea, but I just want to investigate what happens. Never deal in absolutes. Only a Sith deals in absolutes. 2 more strokes here and then we're back into it, okay? 1 more. You ready? 2. Let's go. So back up to the same stroke rate and pace that you figured you should be rowing at in the last one. And really what I want you to do is try and hold this rate and pace for all 8 intervals. And like I said, there's a chance that your perceived exertion, even if it feels 7, 8 now, as we go through this workout, we'll climb to 9 or 10 by the end of the workout. And really, that's to be encouraged. What you don't want is to be at 9 or 10 now and have to stop. What you're looking for is an intensity which takes you out of your comfort zone, and you start to think, oh, this is hard work. I don't know how long I could keep this up for. But you know you can at least keep it up for those 3 minutes without needing to stop. Even if you do start to think, I don't think I could do like 6 minutes at this pace. Quick check. I'm still at 142, 27 strokes a minute. And so if I can hold this rate and pace all the way to the end, then this tempo concept, working at a high intensity for slightly longer durations, bearing in mind in the 0 to hero plan, we haven't really been holding intensity like this for more than a minute so far. All right, 3 more strokes, then our next rest. 1 more. That's right, isn't it? Yes. The danger here is that I have to do some maths. So we start again at the 9-minute point. I try and grab my juice, row with one arm. It's a good tip. If ever you're doing longer rows and you think, oh, I need a drink, but you don't actually want to stop to take one, and just do what I did then. Just put your hand in the middle of the handle, carry on pushing with your legs. You might drop your pace by 10 seconds or so, but for the 3 or 4 strokes it takes to have a drink, you're only going to lose a few seconds, rather than if you completely stopped to have a drink and you'd lose a lot of seconds. Okay then, 10 seconds to go before we get into the next interval. Pick up your handle if you'd stopped. I'm going to take 1 more stroke here. You ready? 3, 2, 1, let's go. Into interval 3. And with any luck, now that we're into the 3rd interval, well, not only are you now perfectly warmed up, but you'll hopefully have kind of found your rhythm. You'll have ground in what it feels like to hit these higher stroke rates and higher intensity and paces. So you shouldn't need to search for the right rhythm and pace every time you start. You should pretty much get there after a couple of strokes. Because although I suggest following me on screen or the sound of my flywheel in order to get up to my stroke rate, you still need to be in charge of you making sure you have the rhythm and flow, so that if you're doing it on your own without guidance, you know how to move your body. This makes me think about dancing, and that's why I often say you should think about your flow and rhythm on the machine as though you're dancing with it smoothly in and out, like a waltz almost. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Not very good waltz rhythm, but broken down into 3s, with the drive being 1 and the recovery being 2, 3. Whew. Okay, 15 seconds until the next rest and the end of interval 3. 2 more strokes. 1 more. Just as the clock ticked over to 12. So that's 3 intervals, 2 rests, done. Where's my heart rate zone? I finished that. I'm having my zone is having arguments with my Garmin. My zone has me at 144. Garmin has me at 130. I'm more inclined to believe my zone, to be honest, and that's not something I often say. Maybe the Garmin is a little loose on my wrist and not quite picking up all of the heart signals. We're getting closer. My zone's now, there we go. They're both at 118 now. If you are wearing a heart rate monitor, then don't just track your exertion heart rate. Do take a look at how quick your heart rate drops after an interval as well. So I've gone from possibly 144 to 114 now, in 10 seconds before we start the next interval. Okay, one more stroke here, and here we go then. Interval 4, let's go. Now, what I'm hoping is that your situation on your machine is the same as mine, in that as I get towards, let's say, well, right now about a minute to go in these intervals, I'm starting to find it a little bit tougher, and I do need to concentrate on pushing with the legs, making sure I've got good technique in order to keep the pace and intensity up. First 2 minutes right now are simple enough. They just feel hard. But the last minute does feel a notch tougher. This is a minute gone into this one. But the recovery, the minute and a half that follows, should be enough that you're able to recover again, so that the start of the next interval goes back to that kind of easier hard, let's say. And so as we get to the 2 minute mark, you can possibly tell by the pauses that I'm now taking when I talk that it's starting to get a little bit tougher to keep this at the same intensity. And that is ideal. What should happen is the rests will reset you, but as this row goes on, you'll find it gets tougher earlier and earlier, and your only job is to keep going, knowing that there's only 10 seconds until the next rest. 2 more strokes, one more. There we go. Do you understand? So, there you go, they're agreeing with each other now. 150 heart rate at the end of that one. So, assuming 144 was correct the last time, in terms of exertion, I'm getting that increase as I go through this workout, even though the intervals remain the same intensity in the same duration, just as a result of working at this consistent intensity, my body's responding. And then this is how you manage to deal with this intensity. Okay, so I'll talk about that next, in fact. Where are we? Yeah, we're not starting yet. We've got another 30 seconds. Oh, I'm telling you, if I can get through all of this, we only do 8, and I don't miss any rest periods and stuff, it'll be a miracle. So we're starting at 18, we stop at 21 on the next one. I know you're seeing a countdown rather than a count up, but I've got a count up in front of me, so 10 seconds to go until interval 5. Now let's take one light stroke here, because I'm out of time slightly, and let's go. Sorry about that, I got my rhythm wrong. You could tell it all went a bit quiet while I was doing maths in my head, because I was trying to work out if this is the 5th interval, are we halfway there? Is it time for me to sing Bon Jovi at you? The good news is, yes, we are halfway there. The bad news is, I'm not going to sing at you. You'll just have to imagine me singing Bon Jovi at you. So, heart rate recovered to 120 that time. So, recovery was obviously impacted by the elevated exertion. And this is all a good sign, believe it or not. The fact that heart rate is higher, it feels tougher earlier, it's all good because it shows that I'm working at the right intensity in order to be, well, I'm going to use the word stress, but it's probably not right, but stressing my muscles and cardio by working hard, but not just thinking it's about going to max for the first minute and then needing to back off towards the end. The reason it's tempo training is that you want to hit your high tempo like music has a constant tempo, and then you hold it consistently throughout the interval. Whew. Remember, keep stroke rate up, keep power from your legs. Even if you start to fatigue, let your technique take over and push with the legs. Ooh, 3 strokes, then we rest. Last one. Oh. Oh. There we go. 160 heart rate finish for me. So that shows that as I cross the halfway point, it's now taking an increasing toll on me. And if you don't train with a heart rate monitor, I really do suggest getting one, preferably an accurate one. I do think there's something weird about the Garmin with me today, where during the row it's not right, but when I recover at this rate, then it is about right, because it had me down at 110 finish there, and I know that's not right. So it's one of the reasons why I wear 2 monitors. Got the MyZone here and the Garmin here. It's just, especially when you go for wrist-based monitors, sometimes they can have issues, Normally the Garmin's really good. I'm quite surprised with it today for being quite rubbish. Where am I? So let's quickly, with 10 seconds to go, I'll give you a heart rate recovery. 114 again, that's good. And we're going in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, let's go. Back into 20, well, where am I? 27 strokes a minute, 142 pace. Try and hold this to the end. And, you know, I field quite a lot of comments from people who say, enjoyed the row, maybe could have done with less talking, but for a start, that's not what I do. I talk. The whole reason, or like 80% of the reason I set up RowAlong was to deal with an injury I had. I cut my hand really badly and had to get it operated on. And so I couldn't row for quite a while. And the physio said that when I did row, it would have to be at a much reduced intensity. I don't know much reduced intensity. But what I worked out was that if I spoke while rowing, there was no way I could row hard. And so, rather than just going to the gym, talking to myself while I rowed, and looking like a lunatic, I started using a friend's CrossFit gym, set up a camera, and started making these YouTube videos. And then, over time, I got stronger and fitter, but I was still able to talk while rowing. And it's kind of, from making these videos, stuck ever since. And I can't, well, I mean, I can go to a gym and row without talking, don't worry about me. But when I'm running the camera, making videos for you, I feel it's much more value talking to you, 10 seconds to go, than it is just playing music. 2 strokes, 1 more. Oh. Plus, you have the option of muting the video and just listening to music if you want, especially for these new RowAlong format videos that now have the text coming on screen. Whew. Was that 5 or 6? I want to say that was 6. I could do the RowAlong graph, the watts graph, showing me the combination of all of the intervals I've done, so I can just look at the graph and see 6 peaks. But I think so. It doesn't feel like, does it feel like that long ago? Right, it's a minute rest done, so I'm gonna have to just get into the next one and then try and do maths. Oh, I knew this would happen. I told you. Where were you? You should have kept me counting. It's 4.5 minutes per interval if you include the rest. So I'm gonna have to do that maths in the next rest. So maybe I will have to shut up in the next rest. 10 seconds to go until the start of the next one. Is it? No. Yes. 3, 2, 1. Let's go. I should give up now, shouldn't I? I'm either at risk of going one interval too long, or stopping short and going one interval short. See, I'm panicking now. I can see my split was up at 138 there, because I'm too busy thinking, oh, right, hang on. I can do this with you, or you can do this with me. We started this one at 27 minutes in, which means 4.5 is 2. That's 9 minutes times 3, 6. Right, so that was the 6th. Anyway, there was a point to me telling you the talking during RowAlong story. Can't remember what it is now. Oh, I know. Because it's not just about me flapping my gums, unable to stop talking. I also think, especially at this stage of the row, it's really important that someone starts to tap you on the shoulder as fatigue sets in and reminds you about technique, about pushing with the legs, about keeping arms straight at the front as you push, about a forwards tilt into the front, to let that power come from your legs. Because it's easy to get tired and think it'll be easier if you don't push with your legs and you just pull with your arms. But trust me, that'll just make it a lot harder or a lot slower. Right, hopefully there's only 5 seconds to go here. Last stroke here, and let's rest. I still am a little bit worried that I've messed up, but I do think that was interval 7. Not even what was my zone saying? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, I think that's a 7 humps on my zone graph. Sorry, this workout is now taking a turn into the jeopardy of whether I can count or not. We've long left behind any motivational aspect of me trying to be professional and telling you you've got this and you're amazing and whatever. We're just clinging on here, hoping that my maths is right. Should be 10.5 plus 24. Yeah, 34.5 should be the total time, which if we start in 20 seconds, it's going to be. Now, of course, I might have to get to the end of this and then row a cheeky extra interval. I've not had to do that yet in all of my RowAlongs. 10 seconds to go. Hopefully you're recovered so that we can hit the last interval, I hope. Here we go then. In 3, 2, 1, go. Oh. I can tell you what the funny thing is as well, is that the distraction of me having absolutely no idea what I'm doing here has kind of got me through the last 2 intervals. I'm still up at the same pace, same exertion. It's now around about a minute into the interval is when it kind of tips over from the kind of standard hard into tough. And I have to concentrate. Yeah, so I really feel now I'm needing to properly concentrate on the push from my legs and the connection through my body into the machine. And I can tell because I start to look at the clock and think, hang on, how long is there to go? Where am I? Is it 2 minutes? Is it a minute and a half? But after this stroke, got a minute and a half to go. So it's up to you. You can continue at this pace, or if you want a strong finish, then push harder with your legs in order to increase your speed. I'm doing that, but I'm holding 27 strokes a minute and just using leg power to go 5 seconds faster. I'm now 1:37 pace. Push with the legs. Let that connection come through your body. Brace stronger against the handle. And pull at the back a little bit stronger. 3 strokes, 2 strokes, last one. Oh, now hopefully my maths was right and you didn't have to watch interval 7 twice. Continue just moving for a few seconds. Don't worry about technique, just very lightly move. And now that 30 seconds has passed, still maintain light pressure, but now start to return your technique to how you would row. So I'm 30 seconds slower than my warm-up pace right now, rowing at 18 strokes a minute. And it's just about gentle push. Connect the body, let the blood flow, let that transfer of oxygen and carbon dioxide happen to get the CO2 out and the oxygen in, and let your body cool down. Now remember, there is a stretching, guided stretching option on here. Have a wee hunt and you'll find it. Along with the warm-ups, you'll find the stretching to finish for a cool down. Yeah, I'm not going to do it on this one because I want to try and keep these just to themselves, just the workout itself, because otherwise you'll look at the timer and go, hang on, it says it's only a 34-minute workout. How come it's an hour? It's because I tend to talk quite a lot on the cool down, to be honest. I talk quite a lot as it is. I'm not stopping, all right? There's other people out there that do this in absolute silence and they just play banging tunes. My USP is the fact that I can talk while I'm rowing at 1:35 pace, so. And if, and if that doesn't gel with you, like I said, just hit mute. Stick on Spotify, put something else on. Right, I am all done. Well, I'm almost all done. Let's give it another 5 seconds and that'll be me bang on 37 minutes for today's row. One more stroke. So today was definitely, for those who are new to the RowAlong platform, or at least new to me rowing on the RowAlong platform, and like historically, like up until now, I've been kind of quite well behaved. Today was probably the first time that I completely lost it in terms of not being able to keep up with the where I was on the intervals. I do need to speak to the developers and find out when they're going to allow me to actually program into like intervals and rest into the monitor, because it's amazing, but that's the one thing it's lacking from a kind of, if you want to do this kind of training, is being able to set up intervals on here. It's all just kind of done. Anyway, sorry, I'm rambling. Thank you so much for doing this workout. I really do appreciate you putting up with me, especially on a workout like this where I spent half the time trying to have a crisis about whether I could count or not. So yeah, that's me. I hope you enjoyed it. Do let me know whether it's via email or on Facebook groups, or if you're going to post the socials. In fact, today's hashtag, let's have it as math lesson without an S, just math lesson. And if you're going to post on your socials, use that and I'll go, look, you did that one. So yeah. And then next time I'll get an abacus or something and I'll kind of make sure I can keep track of my intervals, find out where I am in the workout. But yeah, I do hope you enjoyed that one. Let me know if you did it or if you didn't, or how you're getting on with the 0 to Hero plan if you're doing this, or just get in touch and say hello and yeah, give me some advice on how I can keep count of these kind of things, because I obviously need it, all right? Look after yourselves until I see you in another video. Row well, be well, bye-bye.